my name is Gloria and this is Nathan. We would like to shoot a video about what is going on in Ukraine nowadays. So Nathan, what do you do? Where do you How long have you been living in Ukraine?
What do I do here? I am a missionary. I work with a group of missionaries called Euro Team Outreach. We run a correspondence course and we run an English club here. How long have I been in Ukraine? I have lived in Ukraine for 5 months this year, and 5 months of the last year, and then 2 months of 2014. And where do I come from? I am from the United States of America. I am from Washington State.
I see. And you are living in a country where war is going on, and it's in the east, and some claim this is a civil war. Do you think this is a civil war, and if yes, why?
I do not think this is a civil war. I know a lot of people in America believe it's a civil war between Ukraine, but I believe it is a war between two countries, Ukraine and Russia. There are Ukrainians fighting against Ukrainians, but they are outfitted with weaponry that is not something a Ukrainian can come by. They are being paid and supplied by the Russian military. There are also Russian troops in Ukraine. So in no way does that qualify as a civil war if it is being enforced by another country. It is not a civil war. It is a war between two countries.
I see. And you live in Lviv, which is considered a fascist or a Nazist city of the western Ukraine. Have you met you noticed any fascism or Nazism here?
I have heard a lot of people from the east or in America say that people in western Ukraine, like here in Lviv, are fascists and are Nazis. That is not the case. I have never met anybody here who is a fascist or a Nazi. It's just a name that the Russians are throwing at the people as propaganda for people to be afraid to come to the West or be afraid of the Ukrainians because they think they're Nazis when they're not Nazis. It's just they're not Nazis at all. I've never seen any fascist behavior. I've never seen any type of behavior that would qualify as fascism at all.
Okay, and what do you think is the purpose of such propaganda and everything that is going on in the East and the Russian actions? What is the purpose?
The purpose of their actions? What is the purpose of their actions? I can't say for sure what the purpose of their actions are. I believe that Russia wants another puppet government set up in Ukraine. I believe they want Ukraine to be a country that's controlled by them through another puppet government. They are benefited greatly by having Ukraine as a puppet government through gas or food or whatever other means. So why Russia is fighting in Ukraine, I can't say for sure, but I believe it's because they want another small puppet country.
I see. So these are facts that you can see being American living here. These are things that you can clearly see. Right?
Yeah, they're clear. They're very clear that it's not a civil war. The Ukrainians do not want to be most Ukrainians do not want to be on the side of Russia. It is a Russian enforced war.
Yeah, I think this is very useful. Your opinion is very useful. And also, talking about Russia, and Russian President Putin said that NATO troops are fighting on the side of Ukrainian army, and Russian media claims that there are many Americans, Polish people fighting on the Ukrainian side. Do you know anything about that?
I have heard that there are Americans and Polish and NATO troops in the east fighting, but that's all, as far as I can see, lies. I've never seen NATO troops here in Lviv. I've never seen NATO troops fighting. It would be pretty obvious if there were NATO troops fighting over there. Besides what the Russian media says, there is no proof. There is no NATO forces, nor Polish forces, nor American forces fighting in eastern Ukraine.
see. And what about the religion in Ukraine? Does Ukrainian government shut down churches? Is anyone persecuted for their religion?
Here in the West, nobody is persecuted for their religion. I have not seen any persecution at all, especially from the government. I have heard that in the East there are some evangelical Christians persecuted by the separatists or the Russians, but I've not heard anything of the persecution.
Okay, and language question. You speak English, and do you understand in Ukrainian Russian to say that there's no Russian-speaking people here, or they are persecuted, they're hated?
I understand a good amount of Ukrainian, and I understand a little bit of Russian. There are Russian speakers everywhere. Pretty much everybody in Western Ukraine speaks Russian as well as Ukrainian. There is no persecution against Russian speakers that I've ever seen. The closest thing to persecution against Russian speakers I've seen was a small joke between a couple of Ukrainians. They were making fun of each other the way they pronounced the Russian word. And so persecution for Russian language speaking, there is none.
So you don't think there's an issue, a language issue for this war or whatsoever?
I definitely do not think there's a language issue for this war. There never has been. That is just something Russia said so they can get rid of people.
Did you notice Ukrainian language persecution?
I've not noticed any Ukrainian language persecuted here, especially in Western Ukraine. I did hear a story about a person who did not feel comfortable speaking Ukrainian in the East because he felt he might get persecuted a little bit for it, but I don't know if that was true or not. I have not noticed any type of language persecution here at all.